We're not connected to Zoom yet. Okay, we're live now.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. We're ready to call the meeting to order of the March 1st Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. And the time is 1:30. And item number 2 is review and take any action to the minutes of the last regular meeting held on Monday, January 4th, 2021. Has everyone had a chance to look over the minutes, and does anyone have any questions about them? If not, need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Motion to approve, and here a second.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Aye.
6-0.
6-0.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Oh, I need to back up. I need to make sure we have a quorum established. I'm sorry about that. My apologies. Do we have a quorum?
We do.
6.
We have 6 right now.
6 members here today. Okay. All right. Item number 3, ZBA 21-01, 3237 Red Bluff West, Sladen, single member District 1, Tommy Hebert. A request for a variance from section 501.A of the zoning ordinance to allow for a front yard setback of 15 feet in lieu of the required minimum 25 feet in order to enclose an existing carport within the single family residential RS1 zoning district located at 3237 Red Bluff West.
Thank you, Chair and ZBA members. Our first case today, this is Jeff Fisher, Principal Planner, presenting ZBA 2101, 3237 Red Bluff West. This is a variance from 501A of the zoning ordinance to allow a 15-foot front yard setback in lieu of the required 25 feet. And this is specifically to enclose an existing carport. The carport was built probably even earlier than this, but at least on aerial photography since the 90s. The houses were also there well before all of this, and the properties weren't annexed until 2000. So you had a lot of non-conforming situations there. They just want to put walls on the west and on the east side of it. The applicant should be available later for questions, possibly in the future, enclosing the front as well. But again, the intent is just to enclose it. By enclosing it, he's now subject to today's standards, which requires the 25 feet without a variance. This is in District 1, Tommy Hebert, 0.294 acres in the Lake Nasworthy neighborhood. So the zoning in that entire area, including the property, is RS1, single family residential. 8 notices were mailed out, and we did not receive any responses. These are some photos right after that horrible snowstorm we had. So this is looking at the carport, and so it's just completely unencumbered and open right now, just to protect from the elements. Is probably a good example of why, enclosing the west wall and the east wall, and that will stay 15 feet back from the front property. They're not adding or expanding. So the proposed 15-foot setback, this is the site plan that was provided with the building permit. The applicant is measuring 16, but we believe it's 15. So this is just to cover that extra distance in case of that. So to allow the 15-foot front yard, they meet all the other setbacks, 16 feet from the side, 10 feet from the side, and they're more than 75 feet from the lake. Not part of the variance, just to show you a sample of the elevation. There's not really much here because it's just really lap siding that was purchased. So this is an example. So for any zoning board variance, as you all are familiar with, we have to be able to prove either a special circumstance, an overriding public interest, or literal enforcement. We believe it meets the first test. There's a special circumstance. There's a large access easement ranging from about 45 to 60 feet. It's 45 feet in front of the property to the street that was approved as part of the 2000 Lake Nasworthy Red Bluff plat. That access easement has been used as justification for other variances on Red Bluff Circle, Red Bluff West, Red Bluff East. So there's all in all, I think about 10 or 11 variances since the 90s on that I had researched in my review. So when you add that 45 feet, it's really a 60-foot front yard, not a 15-foot front yard. Now, that doesn't necessarily always guarantee a variance, but we believe in this case that access easement provides that substantial distance. So again, number one, looking at the 6 criteria now for a variance, you've got the access easement that provides the additional setback. This was not the result of the applicant. The applicant purchased the property in 2017, and this was decades after the carport was built. Again, just enclosing the walls. They've got a narrow side yard. It would be very difficult for them to have to move that. You've got landscaping and trees on the property. And again, long, skinny lots. They'd have to build another driveway, and it'd be very prohibitive to try to do that. So carport's already there, driveway's already there. They're just asking for the variance. This is the minimum action needed. As mentioned, it complies with all the other setbacks. There'd be no adverse impacts on the neighbors. In fact, I think right to the west, there's about a 17 or 20-foot setback from that building. A lot of these carports and houses in that area were, as mentioned, were built before annexation, before zoning. So they're at least still maintaining 15 feet. They're not trying to go to 0 or 1 foot back. They're still maintaining that. And finally, it's consistent with the zoning ordinance. It'll maintain the overall character and pattern of the area, given the other nonconformities as well. It won't be any closer than that. Staff recommends approval of the variance from 501A of the zoning ordinance to allow a front yard setback of 15 feet in lieu of the required minimum 25 feet in order to enclose an existing carport within the single-family residential RS1 zoning district at 3237 Red Bluff West, subject to 2 conditions of approval. Number 1, the applicant shall obtain a building permit from permits and inspections to enclose the carport, consistent with the footprint provided on the concept plan. And that's just standard, so they can't go 15 feet all the way across and start adding other buildings. It's just specifically for the request. And finally, the variance is limited to the footprint provided on the site plan. I believe it's 825 square feet. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and this concludes the presentation, and I am available for comment.
Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Any questions for Jeff? On the board? There being none, any public comment?
This is Josh Slavin. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to thank Jeff, most importantly, on this deal. Without his help, this would have been hard for us even to get to this point. But as he said, it's a heavy-duty carport, custom made. It's been obviously here since we bought the house. And all we want to do is eventually turn this into a garage, first being the east and west walls, as Jeff said. So we're just looking to update this part of the house a little bit. I think it'll be good for our neighbors as well. I got 3 kids running around, leave crap everywhere all the time. So that will help, as well as protecting our cars and boat from the elements. So appreciate everybody's time on this.
Thank you, Mr. Sladen.
Yes, sir.
Board comments?
I went out there the other day and did a quick drive-by because I wanted to see it without the snow. Pretty property.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
I'll second. Stephanie Hamby.
There's a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any
That's
against?
7-0.
That's 7-0.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Sladen.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Moving on to item number 4. ZBA 21-02, 3929 Margaret Lane, Welland, Single Member District 1, Tommy Hebert. A request for approval of variance from section 501.a of the zoning ordinance to allow for a 9-foot rear yard setback in lieu of a 20-foot for a pergola within the single-family residential RS1 zoning district located at 3929 Margaret Lane. Did I say pergola right? Pergola.
Pergula.
Pergola.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Depends on which side of San Angelo you're from.
Tomato. All right. Shelley, is this yours?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. This is Shelley Pascal. I'm a planner. And as Gary stated, that this property is located at 3929 Margaret Lane. They're requesting a variance from section 501A to allow 9-foot rear yard in lieu of 20. It's within District 1, Tommy Hebert, in the Country Club neighborhood. This is just a photograph of the front of the home of the subject property. As I stated, is zone RS1, which is single family residential, as is all the neighborhood within this area. I did send out 35 notifications within a 200-foot notification area. I did receive a couple of phone calls of support, one being property owner number 12. I did receive a phone call, but nothing official in writing saying they were in favor, but she did state that she was in favor of this pergola. And also I received an email this morning from the current property owner saying he was in favor of his proposition. This is just kind of showing where the pergola is going to be. It's going to be attached to the rear of their property here at the back patio. And it's your typical pergola with an open roof structure. As you know, to allow a variance, it must meet one of the 3 following criteria: a special circumstance, an overriding public interest, or a literal enforcement. Planning staff, we do not believe that this request has met any of the criteria above. As far as a special circumstance, the proposed variance is not consistent with any other property in the immediate area or in the immediate neighborhood. All the homes in this area have the same or similar lot size, and no other variance has been requested for a rear yard setback. Therefore, by approving this variance, it would set an unwanted precedent, possibly allowing other encroachments into the rear yard, which is specifically prohibited by the zoning ordinance. While there is no special circumstance, the proposed action is only needed based on the proposed action of the applicant. It's basically the applicant is wanting and desire this pergola. The subject property was platted in 2013 and the house was built in 2014, meeting all the setbacks. The proposed pergola will be 9 feet from the rear property line in lieu of the required 20, and the existing home is already currently 20 feet. Denying the variance would not deprive the applicant of the same rights as his immediate neighborhood. There's an option available for this property, and that option is to build an 8-foot wide pergola that is detached from the home and separated by at least 10 feet. And that would be allowed by the zoning ordinance. So there is an option for this applicant. The existing home does comply with the RS1 standards, and staff does not believe that the proposed addition would carry out the spirit or intent of the zoning ordinance. Oops. Staff does not believe that there will be an adverse impact on the adjacent properties if the variance was granted. Basically, the applicant is wanting to encroach into the required rear yard, which would be closer to the neighbor directly behind the subject properties. And this could raise concerns related to fire separation and allowing such structures can negatively impact adjacent properties. The zoning ordinance does say that its intent, its purpose is to protect the character and establish development patterns in each area. And staff believes that this proposed pergola is not in keeping with the purpose statement. By adding the pergola, It's at the request of the applicant, it does not meet the intent. Therefore, city staff, we are recommending denial of the variance from 501A of the zoning ordinance to allow rear yard setback of 9 feet in lieu of the required 20 for a pergola within a single family residential district located at 3929 Margaret Lane. And go ahead, stop sharing unless you have further questions or would like to see something again.
Okay. Any questions for Shelley on the board?
I have a question. So you're saying if it doesn't meet it because they want to attach it too close to the house, what was the other option you gave them?
The option is if the pergola is at least 10 feet away from the rear of the home, they can come as close as 2 feet to the property line. If it's detached and separated from the home at least 10 feet. So it would allow an 8-foot pergola.
So that pushes it closer to the fence?
Correct, but it also, you keep that 10-foot separation from the home.
Like a storage building requirement, I guess.
Yes.
Notice the applicant is not the owner. Is that what I'm reading on the application?
Correct. He's the representative.
Oh, for the owners.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to see when you go out there to see in somebody's backyard without appearing that you're some kind of stranger. Do we know? Do any of the other neighbors have backyard construction or backyard porches or anything?
There is one other neighbor kind of catty corner. Let me share my screen one more time. And I do have a zoomed in aerial that might help. Let's see. Yeah, it was very difficult. You can't really tell anything from the front yard, but as you can see, this zoomed in aerial, you can see everybody really lines up. And this is the fence property line. So you can see everybody has the same setback. Everybody's approximately 20 feet from the fence. Other than there is one property, and I have checked with permits, and they did not. There have been no permits pulled since the home was built on this lot 20. I believe it's 24. But even on across Margaret Lane, you can see everybody has a pretty standard setback within this basic whole entire neighborhood.
Any more questions for Shelley on the board?
Can you hear me?
I'm sorry.
Hello? Oh, here we go. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what it is. I'm supposed to say something. I'm representing the homeowners.
Well, we're asking for a board comment right now. We'll get to public comment here in 1 second.
Okay.
Was there
Okay,
any
good.
other questions from the board? All right, we'll move on to public comment. Go ahead, Mr. Welling.
First of all, thank you very much. I don't know what to say. This whole thing is based on the premise of a structure. Okay. Now, a pergola is different from a storage bin that Ms. Hamby was talking about. It's got no walls. The reason that there are setbacks and room around the exterior of a building is so, as I understand it, and talking with Jeff Fisher, is so that the fire department can get there if there's a chance of a fire. And obviously, if a structure had a wall and it was close to the house, you can't get through there with a fire hose. they can, fire people can get through places that are 5 foot wide on the side of a house, and that is perfectly acceptable. This would still maintain 20-foot space between the fence and the back of the building for the fire people to come in and God forbid, with the hose and put something out. It's not a wall. For some reason, the idea of a structure has inherent in the definition the idea of a wall. By the same logic, if somebody put up a clothesline and there were 2 posts, because these are posts, these are 4 by 4 posts sticking in the ground. Okay, by the same definition, then a clothesline would not be allowed. Also, I would think the other that is the one thing, the fire aspect of it. And I understand that. I can appreciate that. The other part of it would be aesthetics. And I think that if you have a building that's, 1 or 2 feet away from the fence line and you're on the other side of that fence line, okay, yeah, it's going to look like doo-doo. Okay, this is 9 foot, 10 foot, 9 foot back. Okay, so you don't have that encroachment. This structure is not integrated into the house structure. It's not. So what you have is a history of lots in San Angelo. They're basically 150 foot deep, and you got to have a backyard, and there's a backyard there. But this is a patio home. This is different. Several years ago, everybody went through and revised the codes because they're having so much problems with carports, and because basically this is kind of a carport, really. Not even that. It doesn't have a thing that's a real roof on it. What we're looking for here is that is one thing. Maybe there was a picture. I don't know if you folks have the drawings and stuff in front of you or whatever, but what we have is that, or if page 8 of Shelley's presentation was there, you don't see the backyard portion of the site plan. It wasn't photocopied correctly. And so it's tough to talk about that. Instead, if we look at the south side elevation, okay, what we have is like this pergola acts like a visor on a baseball cap. Now, anybody here knows how hot it is in West Texas, and the sun comes in from the west, and that is directly there where the west is. And so by putting the pergola close to the building, it's like a visor on a baseball cap. It's going to help shade the sun shade the sun. What you do see on that overhead is a drawing of a porch enclosure. Les and Brenda Mayman, they want to call this their prayer room. And what we want to do is to try and give an outside space for them to enhance a patio home, to improve the value of their home, okay, and not interfere with the fire department, and be more aesthetically pleasing than what's required for a storage room, okay, and to make a patio home enhance the patio. And so that anyway, that's the thing of it. I sent an email to Shelley, and she said that I should bring this up, and this is not a formal thing. On Saturday, the owners went around the neighborhood and they knocked on a bunch of doors. There are 3925, 3930, 33, 38, 50, 46, 42, and 3921 Margaret Lane. I'll read the names: Murphy, Zender, Solomon, Mies, Vogel, Birchman. They said, okay, fine. Okay, what say do we have of what goes on in someone's backyard? On Lydia Court, the house directly behind their backyard, And they got a dog there called Hoppy because his dog jumps up and sticks his head over the 6-foot fence. But they said that's fine. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people that were informally approached about this, and they seem to say, sure, why not? It's going to add value. I mean, if it's going to add value, it'll add value to their property, you know, and consequently add value to all of the properties that are there. And then finally, I mean, the ability to enjoy your home and property, I think is important. And if you want to add value to your home, you should be able to, and not be constricted by definitions of words and laws that apply more to the traditional size of a backyard that's, you know, that's been in San Angelo for forever.
Thank you, Mr. Wellen.
Did I rant on far enough? I don't know.
You did a nice job, sir. That's a good argument.
If there's any questions, I'll be glad to have.
Yes, sir. Shelley, I don't see a site plan in my folder. I could be overlooking it. How deep is the lot?
Camera.
Just one moment. The lot is actually larger than your typical lot. I do believe it is just one moment. Because your typical lot within RS1 is 100 by 50, and this lot is actually 111 by 55.
Okay. Is it a patio home lot or it's stated as a patio home?
It's a single family residential RS1.
Okay. 5 foot, no common wall?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So it's not what we would classify as a patio home. My page 8 drawing here shows a pergola separate, not attached to the house on the bottom drawing, and on the top drawing there, it says proposed prayer room site and back patio. What, that confuses me a little bit because that looks attached to me.
The prayer room, on page 8 of the staff report, and the top illustration is showing a portion of the site plan, showing it is detached right outside of the dining room as the proposed prayer room, which is the back patio, which is the pergola.
Okay. Okay. Well, it looks like how much is encroaching?
They're wanting to expand it 11 foot from the rear of the home. Therefore, it will come in 9 feet from the rear property line. Because the home sits now at 20.
Okay, so this page 8 shows the proposed room site. And it's coming out. I'm a little confused.
Half of the site plan is missing. I think if you go with the south side elevation and look at that.
At the bottom of that page, it's right at the second illustration on that same page, on page 8, shows that it's right near the roof line of that home.
I see that.
And then on the other side of the roof, then it's 9 foot to the fence.
Okay.
And the pergola, that's what I was talking about. That kind of acts like the visor of like a baseball cap.
I guess what's throwing me is that one above it. Is that back patio already there?
Yes, that's part. That's part of another a remodeling. They want to enclose that back patio, turn it into a prayer room, and then have the pergola then extend out into the backyard, and have that as a sun shield.
I guess the proposed was throwing me, but all right. I'll pass further comment to other board members.
So the pergola is not gonna sit over the back patio. They want to enclose the back patio and push the pergola out past that. Is that correct?
Correct.
Debbie, your audio isn't on.
Yeah, it's on. I just can't get it any louder. I've turned everything up that I can. Now, can you hear me?
Yeah, you need to turn it up a little bit.
I did. It's on max.
Okay.
I want to make a motion to approve simply because, like Mr. Welland said, it is a four-post structure and not a structure that has walls. So I don't think the blocking anybody's view is going to be an issue. And with West Texas sun, we do have such an extenuating circumstance in the summer. And I think it'd look a lot more appealing than have it moved to the second option that the city was proposing, because it would be awkward. It'd be awkward looking and dysfunctional and more of an eyesore, because if you're going to use it, you're going to be 2 feet away from your neighbors. So that doesn't, I wouldn't like that if I were on the other side of the fence for sure.
Okay, there's a motion on the table. Do we have any more comments from the board?
I'll second it.
Got a second? Okay. I didn't call for the vote yet. But that's all right.
Okay.
Comments? There being none, okay, we have a motion on the table and we have a second. I'm going to ask for the vote. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
It's like 7-0.
7-0 and passes. All right, Mr. Willen, you got your pergola.
Well, thank you very
Good luck.
much. I want to thank Jeff Fisher and I want to thank Shelley for both of their helps. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right, here we go. If I can find my paperwork, my agenda. Where'd you go? Here it is. All right, item number 5, ZBA 21-03, 810 West 19th Street, Zarata, single member district number 4, Lucy Gonzalez. A request for approval of a variance from section 501.A of the zoning ordinance to allow for a 22-foot front yard setback in lieu of a 25-foot setback for a home within the single-family residential RS1 zoning district located at 810 West 19th Street. Who's presenting this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sherry Bailey, Principal Planner, presenting this one. As you indicated, this is a variance to allow 22 feet from the front yard setback line in lieu of the required 25 feet. As you can tell from the picture, this is a corner property and it has 2 front yards. And the applicant is proposing to set the West 19th side back 25 feet, but the lot itself is only 56 feet wide. And so he is asking for 22 feet on the Lily Street side. I included this because I want to show you, let me just a moment go back. There's a number of properties that are either immediately adjacent to this house, this one here, and these 2 here, which are between 18 and about 22, 23 feet. This one on a corner property is 8 foot, and we have a couple of other ones in the general neighborhood. The reason that I'm bringing this up is that the general feeling in this area, it was platted in 1940. Most of the homes that are existing were built around that time. And so there aren't that many new homes in the area. And at the time that most of the homes were built, we did not have the concept of a double front yard for corner properties, or even a setback. The setback at this time was about 20 feet. So there's a mixture in the neighborhood itself. The zoning is RS1 on that corner. Directly across the street is neighborhood commercial, because there is a church and then a more commercial property, and then commercial right beyond that. We sent out 14 notices. We received 0 in support, but we did get 1 late in the process in opposition. I tried to call the person who sent it in, because I wasn't quite understanding what he was saying. And in visiting with him, he thought that what was being proposed would actually affect Lily Street itself. And we had some difficulty getting the concept across of what was being asked for in this case. This is the site plan. As you can see, the applicant has pushed the house over as far as he can to the side property line. There's 5 foot here. There's 5 foot in the front along 19th Street. And then the 22 feet is here along Lily. The house itself is not an overly large house. It's just under 1,100 square feet on what is being proposed. The lot itself is a very long, skinny lot, and will be able to handle expansion to the rear in the future, but it definitely has a problem because it's only 56 feet wide. As has been mentioned before, there are 3 circumstances, as you're aware, that can allow a variance. And in this particular case, we are looking at special circumstances because this is an infill project. It is not an area that has had a lot of building in the recent past. Most of the neighborhood was built quite a while ago, and this will help stabilize the neighborhood and introduce some new development in the area. And that was the feeling of the applicant, and staff concurs with that interpretation of what he presented. Under special circumstances, we really looked at, as I indicated, this is an older lot, 56 feet in width. Even looking at a small home that's being built, that leaves a buildable area of only about 26 feet in width. So we're not talking about a major impact within the neighborhood. We're actually talking about a home that fits within the development that has occurred within that neighborhood. We looked at the special circumstances that we felt were not a result of the actions of the applicant. This is an infill project. It's an older project. It was platted, as I indicated, in 1940. There are a number of vacant properties in the general area that have never been developed, and the city is encouraging infill development within a neighborhood as long as it's compatible with the existing neighborhood. We believe that this is the total square footage, as I indicated, of this home is 1,090 square feet. If they were to build a house that met the setback requirements without the variance, which is actually only 3 feet, that would necessitate building a home that is very slim, slender, and very long. And the applicant felt that no one would want to purchase that home, and that kind of shotgun home development is just not generally done anymore. We believe as staff that that 3 foot variance is really the minimum action that is needed to accomplish what the applicant wants to do, give him a buildable envelope that he can put the home and have it, make sure that the home itself is not having a negative impact on the surrounding homes. And as I get indicated, we believe that it will not have a negative impact. We do believe that this variance is consistent with the zoning ordinance because it is to protect the character and the established pattern of the developed area, and it certainly does that within this general residential area. With that, staff is recommending approval of the variance for the zoning ordinance allowing a 22-foot front yard setback in lieu of the required 25 feet along Lily Street for the residents in the single family zoning district. And with that, I will quit sharing my screen and answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Sherry. Any questions for Sherry? There being none, to have a public comment. None there.
The applicant is present.
I'm sorry.
The applicant is present.
Oh, okay.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Y'all did an outstanding job. I mean, basically took the words right out of my mouth. So if y'all have any questions, I'd be happy to answer it. But yeah, I don't have anything else to add. We're just excited to already be building in San Angelo and look forward to building more.
Thank you, Mr. Zarate. Am I saying your last name correct?
Yes, sir. That's actually pretty impressive. No one gets it right.
Well, they get my last name wrong plenty of times too, sir. So I've kind of gotten used to it over the years. All right. We have a motion. Hello, board. Y'all there? Everybody quiet?
A motion to approve, Gary?
Okay. Second?
Second it.
There's a second. Okay, call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All against? Any against? There being none? 6-0?
Yes, sir.
Do I have to make a reference that Stephanie had to recuse herself from this one? Sherry?
That's fine.
Okay.
Appreciate
I just
that.
did, didn't I? All right. Mr. Zarate, it's all yours.
Thank y'all. Thank you for your time so much.
All right. Item number 6, division report.
Yeah, I'll take that today. John James, Director of Planning and Development Services. My first announcement is basically answering the reason you don't see Hillary Bucher here. Her last day at the city was on Friday. She is going to work at Goodfellow in their planning office. And so we're going to miss her, but just wanted to let you guys know that she has moved on from us. And so any questions you may have for her, you could ask of one of the other planners or me or Aaron. Any of us can help you guys out. The other thing is kind of our broken record announcement that we will continue to meet virtually until we get direction otherwise. We're hoping that we can start to meet in person soon, but at this point, we don't know exactly when that will be. So we'll keep you advised if something changes between now and the next meeting, we'll definitely let you know. That's all I had.
Thank you, John. Did you say Hillary's last day is this Friday?
It was actually this past Friday.
Past Friday? Okay. We don't get a chance to wish her well. Well, we'll do it virtually. Good luck, Hillary. Now, item number 7 on the next meeting agenda, I guess you kind of covered it there, John. Says that April 5th in the City Hall East Reception Room, unless otherwise noted, I guess, by video.
And we do have one submittal so far, and it is open until Friday.
Okay. Item number 8, motion to adjourn. Your motion? No one wants to give motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, there's a motion. Do I hear a second? Second, I see. Hi, Debbie. All right, all in favor? Bye.
Aye.
Thank you.